if you talk to your friends, they're gonna refer you to your friends as well. One time I called my buddy Casey, I was like, Casey.
Good tip.
Okay, that was a secret tip of the day. How loud is this? It's been so loud lately. How about now? That sounds better. Okay. Now I'm gonna have to come up with good tips. Yeah. Oh, you guys just missed it. I started a new thing. It's called the 9:30 tip. Wait, it needs a better name than that. Something catchier. 9:30 game changer. The on time tip. Yes. That's Sarah on time. Ooh, look at this. Some Red Bulls, some granola bars, bananas. Yes. All right, we're gonna run through things real quick because I got a lot of things to cover. And so hopefully more people show up. Otherwise, you three just get to get this. Tell me something good that happened this past week. A win.
Referral from Low Sky.
Nice.
I don't, did I send it to you yet? Oh, I sent one. Oh. This is a different one. He's doing hard content.
Get in there. Okay.
So, anyway.
I just want to see it.
I already told you my win about Hunter.
Yes, you now have a system for your people. All in command. It was there in front of your face the whole time. I know, we try to teach you too much right up front. I don't know how to do that differently. Just have all this wisdom to impart. What else? I have one. Jake pre-approved my my cousin, and I'm out showing her houses tomorrow. We're gonna go see some houses. So I don't think so. I don't know. But we'll see a few. See how it compares. What else? Anything good? Ooh, 5 loan apps. Nice. Nice. I read this morning that the rates hit their lowest for since March. Yeah. But supposedly that didn't change how many people wanted loans in a nationwide thing, but it does for Jake. All right. New under contracts, new closings, new listings. Anyone got anything? I know that there's a bunch coming up. A lot of people have a lot of things in the pipeline, so jump on the bandwagon. Welcome to the team. You've all been here. Mason, you're the newest, but we made you introduce yourself last week. Okay, Lee Stern. She's doing her last one, which is the one that I'm most excited about, handling seller listing objections. If you've been to the rest of her classes, you realize that she is big in participation. So if you think you are worried about them saying something, write it down and bring it up in front of Lee. See exactly how she would handle it. She is also very scripted, by the way. These, I feel like I'm making up objections because I have an idea in my mind how to solve a lot of these. She has an exact script for a lot of them. So she could say it over and over. What did she call one? The Desert Island script. And she made everyone learn it before they could do a listing appointment by themselves. So they'd be like, you have to walk around with me doing everything I do, and you learn the Desert Island script. And when you do that, then you can do it. So should be good. Monday at 10. Is she coming early? What did she say? 9:30. Show up at 9:30, get some of her wisdom, and she'll start actually the class at 10. Oh, we had two things. Justin Puchar is coming on Tuesday as team meeting. He is the Amy Kendall of Salt Lake. So he had, what does it say? Wealth building? I don't know. He sells like crazy. He's one of the top agents in the Salt Lake office. He has a property management company. He has a bunch of rentals. He has a bunch of investments all over the place. Like he's just next level. So it should be good. I don't think he looks like this anymore. Maybe he shaved his beard. He had like a long beard. Maybe he shaved it. I don't know. But it should be good. So come on Tuesday. Keller Splash tonight. Who's coming? Nice. I think I'm gonna be there, but only with my children. I didn't invite anyone because I'm lame like that.
Got me out of my comfort zone. So I called a bunch of people. I actually got 30 wristbands.
Nice.
So yeah, I have 30 wristbands. They're all so excited, and I thought of like people that are my friends that have a lot of kids, and I have a lot of friends with a lot of kids. They were so excited. So
I love it. Should be great. Oh my gosh, it's so much money. It's like, hey, you showed up. You have to pay us just to park in this parking lot. You want in those doors? Great. You're gonna have to pay us again. Oh, all of these slides, you have to have a tube. You have to pay for that as well. Are you hungry? Are you thirsty? Yeah. So this is awesome. $6 to get in. So I think they still have a couple extra. If you're like last minute invites, you can definitely do that. Okay, next week, Monday through Friday, the normal, we're gonna do power up, jump right into lead generation, except for Monday, that won't happen. Or if you're doing Ignite, DTD2. Do you guys know what the 555 is? Someone made this up. I've heard a whole bunch of different numbers. This is social media. So every day you're supposed to like 5, comment on 5, and message 5 people. And it's just a purposeful way to be on social media. And then next week, I'm moving things around. We are gonna do negotiations on closings. So you get in under contract. What are all of the times that you're gonna negotiate? And we're gonna like role play with this. So we're gonna battle against each other. We'll see if it's just like 2v2 like this or something more than that. So plan on coming next week, all the times that you can negotiate and how you can best do those. Hunter and Jeanette have office hours today, and then I'm on Friday. Look how fast we are. Okay, script challenge. What do you say to someone if you're like on the phone and they're like, oh yeah, I'd love to buy a house. I'm just waiting for interest rates to come down. Who's got an answer? Courtney, what do you say?
get that. Um, so many people have been in that same boat, but we've been disappointed this year because everybody expected it to come down, but they didn't. But you know what happened? Prices went up. So if you are serious about buying a house, it might be a good idea to consider buying the best house that you can afford right now, getting your boat in the water. Because if your boat in the water, then you get to ride with the tide. And as prices go up, you ride with the tide and sell. And when interest rates come down, you can either refinance or go get another house. But if your boat's not in the water, then
I love it. Put your boat in the water or you're gonna drown. Yep. Yep. I like that. What else could you say? There, Mason. Yeah, loan officer, what do you say to people?
I might try to figure out if the real objection is probably not the rate. So it's probably their monthly payment, or they have other debts that they're worried about along with their mortgage payment. So maybe asking them, okay, well, what about the rates, or like what point would your monthly payment be okay? Rate aside, let's figure that out. And then they might start talking about, you know, what they can afford now, or I've got all these other bills, and then it's maybe finding a way to navigate either getting the rate lower somehow or getting their monthly payment to a more comfortable spot, or, okay, what can we do to reduce these other debts so that you're more comfortable with?
I like that. Yeah. Yeah, because numbers are made up 100% to buyers. The only thing they care about is what is their payment. If you told someone they could qualify for a $700,000 house or a $600,000 house, that means nothing except for the house that they can get. Right? It's like car shopping. When you go shopping for a car, they're like, you can do this add-on for $100, and you're like, that means nothing. We're talking about thousands right now. Well, in houses, we're talking about hundreds of thousands. So it's just made up numbers. It's house money kind of a thing. Like, it doesn't mean anything. You just have fake little chips. But the real thing where the rubber hits the road is, what is your payment and can you make that? So yeah, I want rates to go down as well because it makes everything easier. But it all matters on the payment. So like how comfortable you are. Yep.
A lot of times people think that there's not money for it. You have great. Well, that gap.
Yeah. I love that. Let's not talk about the rate. Let's talk about your payment. Because the two things that affect the payment are the rate and the price. Those are the big, yeah, well, credit affects your rate. Yeah. So if the rates go up, your payment will go up. If price goes up, your payment goes up. We have been in this past couple years where rates and prices have gone up, where everyone feels there. So yeah, super easy. Let's talk about your rate, not your interest rate, but your rate that you pay. What's your payment amount? Not your interest rate. And go there. And then probably lean on a loan officer like Jake here, so he can normalize that. I told this story to someone the other day. I got in trouble with my wife, like it's probably like 6 or 7 years ago. I asked someone what their rate was. Because they just like bought their house. And I was like, oh, interesting. What'd you get on your rate? My wife like elbowed me, like, you can't ask someone that. I'm like, why not? Why can't I ask someone that? It's not like I know what they bought their house for. I saw it online. I just want to know what their rate is. And then in this past couple of years, people started to brag what their rates were. Like, oh, I'm 2.75. Oh, I'm 3. 1.99. Yeah. Like everyone, they're bragging about their rates, but the rate doesn't matter. It's your payment. Right? And so what's the payment that you want to be at? And can we do that? Because can you get a lower interest rate right now? Yep. How do you do that? You can do a buy down. It's one. What else? We got to get a little more creative here. I don't even know what that is. Seller finance, you can make up whatever interest rate you want to. And a lot of assumable, really good. And then the other one that was on my mind was builders. I see things from builders all the time. We have 5% interest rates on these homes. And so if someone's like, oh, it's the interest rate. It's like, is it the interest rate or is it your payment? Because if it's your payment, let's figure that out. If it's the interest rate, let's go find you the best interest rate, right? Let's talk to Jake, see how much we can buy down and use your whole down payment to buy down the loan for things like that. So you have an awesome interest rate, whatever you want to do there. Is now a good time to buy a house? Is it a bad time to buy a house? That's my favorite answer. Depends. It probably is a good time to buy a house. Is the market going to crash? Probably not. Yep. In 2008, when the bottom fell out, it took till 2013 until homes were at the exact same price that they were before. 5 years. And like the worst drop that we've had in the past 50 years. 5 years. Are you going to live here for 5 years? Great. You're not going to go backwards. Easy. All right, let's jump into it. Let's build out a business plan. So I'm a thinker, I'm a planner, and I want to know what I should be doing. If you're like most people, you have 1,000 ideas of things that you could or should be doing, or you've tried a few of these and they're not working for you. And so I want to come out with a tangible goal that you can hold yourself accountable to, or I can help hold you accountable to, and that you have a plan on how you are going to achieve that. Keller Williams has these two really simple tools that they call the GPS and the 411. I'm going to show you both of them. I forgot to print them, but I have digital copies, really easy. So before we jump into this, Q3, July to September, questioned myself for a second, July to September, how many new under contracts would you like to have? This is my favorite metric because then it's a 30-day close period usually, sometimes 45 days or more. And so new under contracts might not be money in your pocket, but it's like you can do that in this quarter. So call it out. 4 new under contracts. Do 12. I'm not going to stop you. It is possible. How about you, Mason, Callie? 5. Okay. I'm reading this book right now. It's called 10x is easier than 2x. And I'm reading it because Hunter mentioned it like 20 different times to me. And so I'm like, fine, I'll just read this stupid book. And it's good so far. But so the whole idea is like, rather than getting like incrementally better, you like get transform. You transform. Yeah, transformationally better. Yeah, I question myself. So, okay. The GPS. It stands for goal, priority, strategy. And it's in that order, right? So the first thing, we have a goal. This is how it looks, by the way. So on the top, we are going to put the goal. We just define this. I kind of steered you into this. To be honest, your goal could be anything. This started as like a yearly planning type of an idea. I am not good at sticking to something for 1 year. I change my plans constantly. I was just looking at my goals that I set in November for this year, and I've realized that 3 of them are not even applicable in my life anymore. So it's very different. So it's what's your one goal, and we're going to go based off of new under contracts. You could do this off of money made or appointments or whatever. I like under contracts because those most likely close. Next, we're going to work on the priority. So if you were to look at your goal of 4 or 5 new under contracts, how are you going to get there? So what are the easiest way is your sources. They're dropping like flies. So should we just build someone's business plan? Okay. Courtney, you want to be my guinea pig? Okay. All right. How do I? Oh, do I have the GPS in this one? Way too many GPSs. Blank GPS. Here. All right, we're gonna make a GPS. So Courtney, you said 4? 12. Okay, 12 new under contracts. Oh. So wait, before we dive too deep into this, what would that do for you? How much money is that? Do you know? Yep. Yeah, because those would be 3 more, so you're like 18 grand right there. And then you'd have 9 more, like 12 grand. Well, oh no, you'd be capped. When did you start? Yeah, you'd be capped until March. So you get 18,000 while you're on the team, and then 9 times 12 is 72. 90 grand. $90,000. What would you do if you made $90,000? Okay. So you're almost there. Would you do anything fun with it?
If I didn't find something that I travel,
Ooh. Just redid my bathroom. And I was just thinking about it because I had this thought, like my bathroom was like the 90s. It was gross, like it was clean, but it didn't ever look like it, kind of a bathroom. And I'm like, this isn't too bad. I could live in this. And now I was just standing in front of my LED mirror that shines on me with my sink and my wife's sink and like a whole shower tub room. And I'm like, this is just so much nicer. Like this is worth it. And I'm like, what else can I do now? What else do I need in my house? That I'm like, this is fine, but it's not. It's not fine. So 90 grand does a lot of things. Okay. Let's get you a rental and do some house remodel. Okay. I'm putting this number here. $90,000. So if you were to think of like how you were going to get 12 new under contracts, how would you do that? Tell me more. Okay. So the general rule of thumb is half of your appointments close. So if you would have to have 24 appointments. Like what are like the sources? How do you go get those? Okay. I'm gonna call that priority 1. Wait, I should take notes. Your sphere. What else?
I need to send a fire.
Golden letter.
I to medical records.
Ooh. 2 L's. 20. Probably not circle prospecting. What else? Anything else? Mm-hmm. Is should that be one of your focuses?
Oh, yeah. It acted on different pockets.
I coach 2 different agents, one in Atlanta, one in Myrtle Beach, and 100% of their business was built off of bigger pockets. They paid for leads, yeah, but 100% of their business was that for a long time. Now neither of them pay for bigger pocket leads because they have a group of investors that they just send houses to. Okay, bigger pockets. Anything else?
did the walkthrough. And, like,
Yep.
it's like, they're looking at a $2.2 million house, they're selling their $1 house. Go up.
Okay, I put a bunch of notes of ideas. Do you guys have any other ideas? Because let's break some of these down, because a lot of these will be applicable for everyone. Op City. I don't even know who owns that, but you get leads and then you pay a referral fee. You might have to pay and then also pay a referral fee. Some of these don't make sense. But they're there. Open houses, you gonna do any of those? Door knocking,
So this,
yes,
does it have
it does not. Yep. Yeah, within the brokerage, it's the easiest. Outside of the brokerage, I don't know, maybe there's some rules, but I've never heard them. So you can do that. So. You guys read The One Thing? Is there? There's not a quote. What's the quote from The One Thing? Everything else. Yes, points for Callie. So, as you look at this list of all these different things, what would be the one thing, such by doing it, everything becomes easier and necessary? Out of these sources, where could you get 12 new under contracts from? Which would be the easy, low-hanging fruit in your mind? What just happened there? Watching this? All right, I was gonna break it up more, but I'm not, because for some reason the keyboard thinks when I hit enter, I really hit it 5 times. So golden letter would be easy. Would you get 12 closings from that? Okay, we're gonna come back to that. Keep going. Yep. How so? You want to hear something interesting? I talked to one of my, he wasn't even my mission companion. He was on my mission. He called me yesterday because he's buying a house in Arizona. He was supposed to use his brother-in-law to buy the house, but his brother-in-law never called him back. So he just was like walking through builders and found one and ended up going under contract. And then they wouldn't let his brother-in-law be his agent. So like, well, you never called me back. I don't feel too bad. Anyway, that none of that makes any reason why I said that. He was like, hey, you know what? It's like I always think I should be in touch with people a lot better. And I've always thought like it's so nice that you reach out to me every once in a while and that we kind of chat and stuff like that. And I didn't tell him, oh, it's because I'm in real estate and someone tells me I should talk to you 4 times a year. But it's like, yeah, I like to stay in touch with people. It's fun. And he's like, yeah, I think I should do that more. So normal people think that they should do it better and more. So this is not a weird thing. So, and to be honest, I haven't talked to him in like a year, probably. Because I knew he was going to have a baby, but I didn't know what gender it was or how old it is now or anything. So they like it. It's fun for people to catch up. That's why Facebook is a thing. Because it's like, oh, hey, my high school friend, kind of an idea. So I'm going to leave SOI as priority number one. We can change that later if we want to. If you were to pick only two other things that you can do from this whole list, where would you put your time? Okay. Hmm. Let me give you a spoiler alert of what we're going to do next. Nope, you have to find how to get 12 new under contracts from each of these things. So if we put golden letters as number 2 priority, I want to know how are you going to get 12 from that? Oh, golden letter. This is so simple. It is, hey, I have a buyer looking for a home in your area. Have you considered selling it? Give me a call.
Or in this case, I told that offer.
Yep. What'd you get? 7 offers? Yeah, we had 6 offers that did not buy this house because they were beat out. That means 6 people. Yep. 6 people wrote offers wanting to live in this neighborhood. Who do you know that's looking to sell their house? You mail that out. The best way to do it is, it doesn't really matter what's in the letter, something simple like that. You can put your resume. I've seen people do QR codes or not. The one consistent thing that I've heard is you have to hand address them. If you hand address and have it as a letter, you get way better open rates. I coach someone, she does, for every 200 letters she sends, she takes a listing, is what she says. I coach another guy that just started doing this. He sent out 36 letters and got 2 phone calls. He set appointments with both. One guy was crazy, and then the other guy is like thinking about if it makes sense to list or not. So, very interesting. So is that our number 2? Uh-huh. Stuff and fold and sign. Yep. Yeah, hand addressing. Oh, yeah. I wonder what kind of results you'd get with something like that. If it's better or worse. I've seen this done from investors. There's the classic like cash buyer kind of a thing, like, I want to buy your home for cash. But like there was an agent that she had this whole game plan where she'd take a HELOC out, use that to buy a house, fix it up, and then do it on that house. And she like snowballed into multiple rental properties. Seems sketchy to me. I don't know. She probably didn't factor into her numbers that she was paying interest on her HELOC the whole time because it was on her personal house. But she would send out a letter and say, hi, I'm an investor. I'm looking to buy a property in the neighborhood to fix up and place a great family in. I don't think she said family because that probably feels like a protected class thing, but something like that. Like, I want to make your neighborhood nicer and put a good neighbor in there for you. And she had people reach out to her, and she bought like 6 houses a year for a few years that way. So she built up her rentals really quickly. And she used a lot of leverage, and it was a lot of great timing for her. But so, yeah, that could be an interesting thought. Okay, well, let's dive deeper on sphere of influence for a minute, and then we'll figure out priority number 2. And maybe let's even talk about bigger pockets. So what would you need to do to get 12 new under contracts from your sphere of influence? Okay. How many conversations do you think you would need to have?
So.
Yeah, yeah, something like that. 20 is kind of the number. Yeah, 40 for a closing. So if we did that, what's 40 times 12? 480. Okay, if you were to do this all in the quarter, you don't really hit your goal, right? Because the people that you talk to the last day of the quarter won't go under contract or refer you someone that goes under contract. So you'd have to front load it. Yes. Let's start taking notes. 480 conversations. Wait, is this conversations? How many days do you think you'll work next quarter? Yeah. Because you have July, August, September. Yep. How many weeks are you going to take off? Okay, so about 10 days. You're about 50 days probably of working. Okay, I'm changing it. 10 conversations a day. Is that doable in your life? Yep. So we just headed into our first roadblock. Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's like text messages, Facebook, something like that. Interactions. So if you reached out to like 500 people in the quarter, do you think you're going to talk to all of them? Are they going to reach back out to you? So our problems that we have here with this strategy, even just jot some of these down in our notes section. So we need to figure out value adds. We need to figure out how to add more people. Anything else that we're missing? If you had something of value like Keller Splash style, but you didn't have to pay for it, and you had enough people, could you have 10 conversations in a day? Do you think that that would lead to getting 12 under contracts? Okay. So my rules here for your GPS are specificity. The more specific, the better. So we have an easy goal, 12 new under contracts. We can track that. We could track the money because maybe she makes more money for closing. That's a real thing. Rule number 2 is they need to be in order of priority. So we decided sphere of influence is number 1 and bigger pockets is number 3. We still need to figure out what's number 2. Okay. Next, when you are building out your strategies, you have to build them out in such a way that you are going to hit this goal just with that one thing. So we are talking SOI, how do we get 12 closings from that? And then next it would be golden letter. How do we get 12 closings from the golden letter? Then how do you get it from bigger pockets? Kind of an idea. The reason being is bigger pockets is the lowest on our totem pole. So if you wanted to have, let's say 3 closings from here, 3 closings from Golden Letter, and 6 closings from your sphere of influence. Well, if you spent all of your time on your SOI and Golden Letter and never got to bigger pockets, we have already set ourselves up to be 3 short of our goal, even if we hit everything else. But if you hit a third of your goal in each of them, then you can hit it, right? So if you're 4, 4, 4, great. If you're 6, 2, and 5, we beat it. I can't do math in my head. Okay, so we need to have 10 conversations a day. So then our strategy number 2 would be value add. So we can do this one of 2 ways. We can start to try to define the value adds that we're going to do now, or we can say by July 1, have the script. I don't know what we want to call it. Or value add conversations mapped out. They need to be that specific. We now have a deadline of something that we need to do. I put July 1st just because we probably want to start calls on July 1st. And we're ahead of the game here because what are we, the 20th? We have 10 days before that. So that would give you 10 days. If you were in the middle of the month, right, could add more people, we technically don't need to add everyone right now. So this might be add, I don't know, 5 people a day. Maybe let's change it to add 20 people a week to the database. So that might have its own set of problems that we might want to dive into. Is that doable? Could you add 20 people?
I go to adding them together.
Sure. Felt like that was an affirmation there. Don't be weird today. You are a normal person. Gary Keller talks about the database as you call them 4 times a year. He does not mention your sphere of influence. The things that I differentiate between a database and the sphere of influence is the sphere of influence are people that you know, like, and trust, or that know, like, and trust you. I'd say it goes either way, and that's your sphere of influence. Your database is everyone. He says call your database 10 times or 4 times a year. So even the strangers, hey, we met at an open house 90 days ago. I just wanted to check in. Are you still interested in buying a house? Those conversations actually get really super easy because I feel like it's like a dentist. Hey, we haven't talked in 6 months. Come see me. Hey, I haven't checked in on your real estate plans for like 90 days. How's it going? Can we just normalize that? Like a real estate agent's going to talk to you every 90 days. Dentist did a good job at it. Let's do it too. So then we might need to figure out those things, but we at least have a tangible goal that we can measure on how we're progressing. Because what we want to do with this is we want to look up and say, okay, wait for it. So then we have this is called the 411. So what it does is it stands for 411 because it's backwards. It's what's your one goal for the year, what's your one goal for the month then, and then what's your goal for the 4 weeks. So this is where the rubber hits the road with this GPS. So we have broken it down very simply here, but instead of an annual goal, we're gonna do a quarter goal. And so the goal would be like 20. So then the monthly goals is like, what are you gonna do this month to move that forward? And it might be as simple as, I'm gonna get 4 under contract. And so you can look at your pipeline and say, okay, week 1, it could be as easy as I'm gonna get a week, every week I'm gonna get 1 under contract. Like that could be a thing that you do. It might be that you put names on these people, and then you will look at your GPS and start to put out how you are going to do this in that week. So if you're going to have 10 conversations a day, our goal might be 50 conversations this week. Or it might be, I'm going out of town, I'm doing nothing. I'm going to have negative conversations. And you write that out. It's probably not going to be as linear like that, right? One time I was training for a marathon, and so I said I wanted to run 40 miles in a month. Let's just call it 30 so my math can be easier. So I could have said, I'm going to wake up every day and run 1 mile. I could have woken up every day and every other day and said, I'm going to run 2 miles. But what I did instead is said, this first week, I'm going to run 10 miles. The second week, I'm going to run 10. The third week, I'm going to run 10. And then if I fall short any of those weeks, week number 4 is there to help me out. And I was able to do it. Jordan Larson, he used to be an agent in this office. He wanted to summit 100 peaks in 1 year. He did it, and he would plan peaks where he could go to 3 or 4 in the same day, and he front loaded it so he would be done by October. Because what starts to happen after October? Snow makes it that much harder. And he learned that early on when he was doing it in January, February in Utah. I don't know if he went anywhere else. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So he planned those out, would be his June and July, everything else. He he came to work one morning and he just like looked exhausted. And I was like, what'd you do this morning? Because you're like 2 hours late. And he's like, oh, I went and summited a peak. And I was like, it's like 40 degrees outside here. Where did you go? And he sent me a picture. I can't remember where he went, but he said he was up to his chest in snow. He's like, I was like swimming across the snow. No one else had been on this trail. And I'm like, yeah. But he's like, because he got to one peak and then he went to go to the second one. That's how it was. And he's like, it's like, I'm dead. I'm going home. Why did I even come in today? But so he front loaded. So you can do some of those things. So your weekly goals kind of become up to you, but they're probably pulled right from here. 20 a week into the database, you might be writing your how on something like this. How would you add 20 people a week? And so this might be like, well, I'm going to do an open house and I'm going to make some seller financing calls, or I'm just going to go through my Facebook and I'm just going to add all those people that I haven't talked to in a while. I'm going to shoot them a message, like and comment on their stuff, like love bomb them almost to get that going. So you can start to build out like, this is my least favorite strategy that we have because it's so vague. It's not like the how. In an ideal world, your strategies become the game plan that someone else could run. So, right, we're building this for Courtney, but Courtney could go to a brand new agent and be like, hey, you want to know how I put 12 under contract in 1 quarter? This was my game plan. And they could grab it. And as long as they understood some of the things, like what does SOI mean? What is a golden letter? They could go and run that same game plan. And then we can start to analyze this both as we're going and after it, which is why I want to do it on a quarter and not a yearly basis. Because if you said, okay, I did 10 conversations and I only closed 6, then we can look up and say, okay, there's 1 or 2 things that went wrong here. We either need to talk to twice as many people to close twice as many deals, or we need to have better conversations. So where do we need to improve, or is it a combination of both? We can iterate our plans. And so then 3, 4 years into the business, you just become like a robot and close 100 deals a year. That's what your goal is, right? Be a robot? Okay. Let's make sure we're on the same page. Ooh. Yeah, because how would you get 12 closings from a golden letter? So, golden letter, this is a great strategy. Again, we need to be specific. So I want to know how many are you going to send it out? How often you're going to send it out? Something like that. Or by when will you send the first letter? The more specific, the better. So this might be like golden letter. We might actually send out 6 golden letters going out to 200 plus people. All of those words are spelled out. I blame the keyboard. So that might be the strategy. So then you know, okay, let's work this into my GPS or my 411. What am I going to do each week to move this forward? Then the 411, you literally look at this, and that's what goes into your calendar, into your time blocking. So you have a game plan of how you are going to execute this and when you are going to do it. By the way, when I fill out a 411, so I do this every single week. I will rewrite my annual goal or my quarter goal. I will write down my monthly goal or rewrite my monthly goal. And then I will do that week is it. Right? With my running example, I'm going to run 30 miles in a month. My week 1, if I said 10 miles and then I only did 8, I need to add 2 miles in somewhere. So week number 2, am I going to add those 2 miles in? Am I going to add 1 more? Or am I going to be realistic and be like, well, I did 8. Now I'm only going to do 10. And then I'll do 11. And then I'll do 11 again. And I've made it all up. But then week 2, if I did 9, I'm now 3 short. So now I got to add 3 in the last 2 weeks. Or the bonus 5th week that we get sometimes. Because our calendar is awful. Here's my favorite calendar I've ever heard. And I think we need to adopt it. We live a 360-day calendar. Everything is completely worked out. So it's like 10-day weeks, whatever we want to do, however that is. But then those last 4 or 5 days on leap year should just be party. Everyone gets it off. It's like New Year's Eve celebration. And then we have like an easy calendar. We can still do 12 months. I don't care. So, questions, thoughts? You want to keep going? I'm going to keep going. Okay. So, by the way, there are 3 priorities. If you end up with 2, you are probably okay. If you only have 1, you are probably not okay. If you want to do 4, that's probably too many. So I would just do 2 or 3 priorities. Same with strategies. If you only get 3, that's probably okay. If you have like 7 or 8, that's probably too many. So I add 5 lines here, but sometimes I have 6, sometimes I have 4, and that's completely fine. Yes. You definitely can do that. And you should do that. Yeah. Yes. Well, and think about it. So of the people in your SOI, there's 2 ways to get closings from it. They close them or they give you a referral that closes them. So like, let's say you even went to an investor meeting and you meet someone and they're like, I like you. You should help me buy my next investment. And then you keep calling them. Maybe they're not ready to buy an investment for a while, but they're going to know other people that need to buy and sell houses. So you might get referrals from them for multiple years before they even close a house. And that's completely fine. So the more people you have, the bigger your conversations can be, more referrals, everything like that. Yeah, if it was a Facebook group, I would base it off of like, I want to be so active on that Facebook group so that you get known as it. You could start your own kind of meetup. And that would be like, I would judge it based off of how many people I want to come or how often I'm going to do it. Or if you're going to like a physical meetup that happens every once in a while, it would be like, I need to get so many contacts, like contact information to add them to my database. Otherwise, because the whole thing is if your goal is there and you lose money because of it, it's the wrong goal. If the priorities don't lead to hitting the goal or the strategies don't lead to hitting the priorities, you've done it wrong. So if you're like, I'm going to go to 5 meetups and then you don't talk to anyone, or you only talk to the person that you know that brought you to the meetup, then you're doing it wrong at the meetup. So you need to talk to so many people. A lot of this might just be getting out of your comfort shell, and it might be like something as simple as that as a strategy. Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah, you probably shouldn't spend money. Lead with revenue. That's what Gary Keller always says. Once you have your first closing, then you can set aside a portion of that to go to pay for bigger pockets. So we need to find you a closing without paying money. So you could still do things like if we were to jump down to the bigger pockets idea, like you can still post and be involved and ask questions and be active and known so that when you become an agent, you're all of a sudden more special. I don't know the word I'm looking for here. Yeah. Yeah, because I think even Bigger Pockets has some sort of algorithm on how they give you leads based off of how much you interact and post stuff or help people. All of these different ways that you get leads are all very different. For example, Zillow, if that was something that you're like, I want Zillow leads, you have to pay for a zip code. And every zip code is different, different amount of money, different agents are bidding for it, things like that. And they look at your reviews and how many closings you've had in that area. So the more that you do, the better agent they think that you are in that area. So can you do some of those things? So like the Bigger Pocket strategies might be like, I'm going to post like an interesting article that I write every single week. Or I'm going to answer 5 questions a day, whether they've been answered by a bunch of people or not. I'm going to reach out to someone and add value. It's a lot of adding value with any of these platforms. All right, Courtney, we still need a number 2. Let's do it. What happened? Like years ago, when someone brought in donuts, that was like the thing. Everyone would eat all the donuts. And no one eats your donuts. And everyone's snatching up your bananas. Okay. Thanks, Jake.
Yeah.
Yes, I did want financing. Yeah, Courtney, what would you do? Yeah, do you want equity or not? Because a lot of people refinanced and didn't take out all of their equity 3 to 4 years ago. So you could probably do. Oh yeah. So when someone's like, oh, I have 50 grand I could put down, they're like, that's as much as I'd sell That's how much I would get. Yeah. Love that. Um, I wish. So Real Advantage Title can pull a list. Yep, it costs 6 cents per phone number. And so you can either do, yep, addresses for free. Yes. So if you wanted to do like a mailer, right, the golden letter, you can say, hey, I want to mail to these 200 people. Also, Command can send a postcard. It's super easy. So you could do something like that.
Or like they were saying.
Yep. Yeah, my favorite ways are, I would call them campaigns. I don't want just one thing that I'm going to do. I want multiple touches. Because if you call someone after you've sent them like 4 postcards, they're like, oh, you're the person that sends me all those postcards. Either as a good comment or a bad comment, but either comment tells me it's working. You've seen me. You know who I am. Yeah, they did this study one time where they made up a fake agent, like didn't really exist, gave them like a stupid, boring website that was bad, and sent out a mailer to people. They wanted to see how long it would take and how often they needed to send it before this fake agent started to get phone calls of people looking to sell their house. And they determined that you should send a mailing every 3 weeks. And then I've heard all these different numbers. On average, you get a positive ROI after 2 years. But that could mean that you list and sell a few houses depending on how many you're sending them out, right? If you send to a whole zip code, that would be pretty expensive. And you might sell a house every month, but you're sending mailings every 3 months, so you're not making money. But then after 24 months, you're getting multiple listings. So I don't know the real numbers behind that, but they said 3 months, every 3 weeks is the way to go when you're a fake agent trying to get people to call you. Yes.
So we're in, we joined.
Uh-huh. Yes. Maybe. So, if you wanted to join St. George's MLS, for example, you have to be on the Washington County Board. And you can do that because Dean is also a part. So your broker has to be part of it first, and then you can. Park City is the same way. They have a summit, I think is their board name. But the good news is almost all of those people list most of it on Utah real estate as well. So like St. George is a little bit less. There's still a lot down there. Park City, it's something like 75%. Like people just list things on Park City and this. So if you're ever worried that you're not going to see anything, you can get on like a KW app or something like that. That's like a national type website, and you can go find those houses, and you can even call agents. And so like if you're showing houses in St. George, be like, hey, I'm an agent. I'm not part of the Washington board. I'd like to show your house. Can I still get in? A lot of times your super key won't work though. So you have to find a way in. So it's a little bit harder. Or you can partner with an agent, you know, call Taylor and be like, hey, close this person for me. Send me a referral fee. So. Uh-huh. Love it. Yes.
But I don't think they're excited about counting so much. There's more pictures.
Hmm,
I might get,
yep.
although Airbnb is worth it. But I
Oh
think
my goodness.
they're-
Yeah,
It's not. It's wrong.
yep.
I mean,
Well, and so Courtney, as you're doing this, your first step should be, how can I buy this house? Right? If someone's willing to offer seller financing, it's like, well, how low would they take as a payment? And could I rent this out if I bought this? And then if you're not, you're gonna work with all these investors, you should send it out to the investors first. And then move further and further out like that. Like maybe this group has a bunch of investors. I know like Kylie has some investors that she's working with, that are constantly looking for things like that, that you can be like, Kylie, can you buy any of these things? And then putting it on the MLS, being like, let's do the whole market now. And so, but it also depends on the sellers, right? I mean, they might not like the idea of you sending out just to like certain agents in your office. Like, these are my favorite agents, I just sent it to. But they won't have a problem if you bring them investors or if you bring them an offer. So they might want to skip the, hey, Kylie, I have this good deal kind of a thing. So,
I am prospecting and I want to get the seller side,
yep,
but I have buyers.
you would represent one or the other, not both.
So like some people letters.
Yep. If you have a signed buyer broker agreement with someone, then you just go and you say, I have a buyer that wants to buy your house. They're willing to pay X, and like walk through it, willing to pay X. And that would include you paying me a 3% commission. And then they would buy it. If you walk through and the buyer's like, this isn't the one, then you go to them and say, hey, this particular buyer that I represent didn't like it, but I have a whole bunch of other buyers that I don't represent. I could list it on the MLS and we could probably get X for your house. And then you turn it into a listing. To be honest, most of the houses that you do a golden letter for, your buyers will not buy. They're probably going to find something on the MLS 9 times out of 10. But it looks like you're doing all of this awesome work for them, so they're super excited, and then you're getting listings. So it's like a win-win. And maybe they buy it, who knows? And you can make up whatever commission you want. Hey, because I'm kind of representing you, like I'm gonna help you through the transaction, an agent would charge you 3%. I will just guide you through it and not represent you and charge 1%. And then I'm 3% for the buyer, so just do a 4% commission instead. You could say that, that might work. You would just get a 4% commission as the buyer's agent. Yep. Or you can plug another agent in and be like, Sarah can represent you, and you can pay Sarah, and then Sarah has to pay you a referral fee for giving to the seller. Yep. Yeah. Ooh, lots of ways. Lots. Uh-huh.
Talked about.
Yes. Mike Hicks,
Yeah, but I think he's on that.
probably.
Yeah. But anyway, old program, and it was when I was working front desk that one week.
Oh, yeah.
And he wanted to be the market. So I gave him the order. He didn't make contact anyway, so I guess the old program.
100 a week.
Yeah, so because of that, he collaborating, then
Some.
area, like a fair area. So, but I.
Yeah.
Well,
Sitting at the front desk paid off.
yeah, but that's
Yeah. Yeah, so it becomes a math problem that we need to look at, like even going back to your first one of sphere of influence. Do you have enough people to talk to? If not, how do you go find those people? If you have enough people, then you don't need to do the extra things to find people, because you just need to talk to those people. Okay. Go and finish this off for your business. And then when you are done, send it to me. I want to see what you're going to accomplish in the next 3 months, most likely just under contracts, unless you want to change your goal to be something different. And then how are you going to go get those? Oh, and here, let me, where's this? So here's the GPS. If you want a little thing. Yes. I've been hearing like 5 to 7 people been walking through lately, and maybe half of them are represented. I'd be interested if Lucas knows, because he goes door knocking a couple hours every day. Oh, the neighborhood around that? I don't know. You did that the other day, Sarah. How'd it go for you when you door knocked around your open house?
The last time we did it on Saturday, great, I was gonna hurry,
Mm-hmm.
so, I talked to maybe like 5 people, but I didn't have time to like, I stapled the rubber band
Oh, yeah.
to do that, it takes a long time. So, I did talk to like 5 people. Are you asking, like,
We got
Yeah.
leads.
trying to put like in my track, I hope. Like, trying to figure out what things are. Yes. From door knocking, get it. I have a little on flyer. They know there is a demographic of like, you think I would say above 7,000. Funding up to 7,000. What I did, that demographic is different. Let's say a 500,000. When a home is, like, higher in price like that, they're usually coming through with an agent. They don't put the.
Okay. Here's a copy of a 411. If you want that too. So the plan is do your GPS, and then every month and every week you get the 411 out and plan out your week and what are your big rocks, right? It's the whole like lesson from primary where it's like you take a jar and you fill it with rocks and you're like, is this full? And all the kids are like, yep. And then you put pebbles in and it fills up even further. And they're like, is it full? And they're like, yep. And then you put sand in and fill it up. And they're like, is it full? And they're like, definitely. And then you pour water in and it fills up all the way. And you're like, now it's full. Like, we are doing our big rocks first. And this is how you do it. So this is, Johnny glossed over this very, very quickly. As he was in team meeting, he showed a slide that had a picture of it. And then it was maybe up for like 5 or 10 seconds. And then he went to the next one. So, but this is a deep principle that if you do your GPS, you have the whole plan, and then you use a 411 to go into action on that plan, then you can decide towards the end of the month, what went wrong from me hitting my goals if you did not hit your goals. If you hit your goals is what went right, how do I double down next month? If you did not, you can say, okay, number one, did I do my strategies and did they yield the results that I was hoping? If not, we need to change the strategies to try again. If they did, then great. If the strategies seems like they were working, but you didn't execute them, it is on you to go and figure out how to get execution going. That is my TED Talk.